What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm Mac from movieguy.com, and I'm doing something I didn't think I would do. I'm coming back around for Halo Episode 2. So this is sort of both a review and a recap of the episode, I guess. I already reviewed the pilot. I don't usually review past the pilot, but there was such kind of a shift in tone that I just wanted to talk about sort of the second episode in Halo. Maybe I'll end up talking about the whole season. Who knows? That would be a first for me. Just for those of you who are new to the channel, I am a blind film critic, so this one, maybe not staring directly into the camera. And yep, I'm using an iPhone because it's a good point of reference. So I'll be talking about stuff called audio description. Not so much in this episode because I kind of talked about it a lot in the pilot, but we'll talk about it a little bit in this episode. So what do we got here with Halo? So Halo, for which the audio description continues to label him John instead of Master Chief, which reminds me that some of the conversations I've had with people in the real world about whether or not they do or don't like the Halo series is that they spent all those years playing the video games, and in the first episode Master Chief takes off his helmet and now he's just John, and it's like he's kind of iconic, and maybe we should just call him Master Chief for a little while. You know, I get that there's a dude under there, and that's part of the whole thing, is that these are all like real people, the Spartans are people, but I don't know, it's an icon. It would be like if you found out, you know, Darth Vader's name was Bob. You know, and, you wouldn't just call him Bob. Like, I mean, he's Darth Vader, you know? I know his name is Anakin. I'm just saying, like, it feels like such an anticlimactic name, too. Like, it's just John. I mean, that's my name. I'm not Master Chief. So, yeah, so he, where we last left him and his little refugee buddy Quan are headed off into space to try to figure out why this relic reacts to him, and the people back on Reach are really upset because, you know, a Spartan's gone rogue and they never do that before, and of course this Master Chief, who's like the icon and the spirit of whatever, just everybody just loves him, and they're like, it had to be him on top of it, and it's like, okay, so, you know, it does bring home the importance of Master Chief, but yeah, he goes off, and we get a little bit of backstory between him and his old friend who lives on this planet that he goes, and they talk a little bit about this relic. And we see a little bit more from the aliens in this episode, from the other race. I guess aliens is just such a generic term. I still feel like as a race of people that they are under described in the context of the show. I remember from being able to see and being able to play Halo games what they look like. And I'm trying to envision them having conversations, and it's a little, you know, I don't know. I've heard them referenced as tall, but I don't necessarily remember them being that much taller than the Spartans. So I don't really understand what all of that means. I don't understand what they're doing with these. I don't understand. So I need more description about what we're doing there. We do learn that there's this human that's been living among them, and she can speak to them, and she's gonna go get the relic herself because she can move about the humans. Well, yeah, because you are one. You know, like, that's duh. Arguably the others can too, because they can cloak, as we saw in the pilot, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. So this pilot, I guess you could say, it slows down a lot. It sets up a lot of things. I laughed when I heard Cortana. I was like, oh my God, we're trying to bring that back. I can hear the people at Microsoft just going, yes, Cortana, it never died, it is back. And it's, yeah, so I expect a resurgence of Cortana on all Windows products after this. So that was definitely a fun little thing, because I remembered that whole tie-in. But yeah, this, we opened the pilot with a gigantic action sequence and a lot of Halo, centric lore, and then the second episode slows it way down. And as far as character development, we got a character development from Master Chief, I refuse to say John, and Quan, and maybe a little bit from some of the other characters as we touch base with them, but they're still, my problem with the pilot was that the characters who are not the main two seem to be underdeveloped. So now we have this new character played by Bokeem Woodbine, who has more character development than characters that were in the pilot, and now have 2 episodes worth of character building underneath them. And I feel like I know them less than I know this character that was just introduced in the series, simply because the episode was kind of centered around his character. Heck, even the guy that they hand the relic to try to get more information, I feel like I know more about him than I do some of Master Chief's Spartan buddies. So we're doing okay. I feel like we're not, I know we can't hit hard every episode, but there's so much more Halo lore to explore, that I hope that within the first season that we get that. Just bring in more of the video game, because I know you're trying to set yourself apart by having an actual plot and a story and a structure and all of that stuff. But at the same time, it's only the second episode, so you're assuming that what you've got is good enough to keep people interested for the duration. And I think what everybody loved in the first one was that massive, lengthy action sequence. And to dial it all the way down here, I don't know that it's working. As far as the audio description, I think it's still fine. For the most part, I'm not, even more so in this episode, because there's no action really to track. There's very little combat, I guess you could say. I just want more from the alien technology. This is still a sci-fi series, so everything can always be described better, because we don't know what it looks like. When things live in the world of fantasy and fiction 100% because they don't exist, it's always good to give us an idea of what they look like. When we walk into a facility, what does the facility look like? This is way in the future. It can't possibly look exactly the same as it does today. We're like 500 years into the future. So any factory, especially if one on a different planet, wouldn't look the same. Nothing would look the same. I'm surprised beds are even the same. Like, haven't we figured out how to do beds differently 5 years from now? But that's also like a show structure idea, just for the creators of the show. I'm sure a lot of this just looks really basic because they didn't have millions and millions of dollars to just recreate an entire new world, but it's just perpetual science fiction problem. Anyway, Halo is slowing down a bit. I'm less optimistic about the direction in which we're headed. They introduced a couple of things that could be interesting, but also I'm not super thrilled about the overall world building with respect to characters other than Master Chief and Quan at this point. And where we left Quan, I don't even know if we're going to get more character building on her in the 3rd episode. So, yeah, this cannot be just one person. I love Master Chief, but this should be everybody. You know, The Mandalorian has great characters too, and that show is actually called The Mandalorian. It's not called Halo, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna dip this down a bit, and then I'm gonna give it a B plus, sliding down a bit. It's still interesting. It's still entertaining, but yeah, episode 2 was less interesting than the pilot. So that's my Halo part 2. Little thoughts and review on that. I don't know if I'll do a third. I don't know, unless I really feel compelled. I didn't plan to stick with the series. I just noticed a huge shift in tone, and I thought I'd come back. So, hope you enjoyed the second Halo episode, and let me know if you're going to stick with Halo. Let me know if you want me to stick with Halo. Comment in the section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and head over to macthemovieguy.com for more from me. And remember, you can always use the audio description project. So that's it for now. Master Chief out.